This is application ZB 253823, and it was heard by the board back on February the 14th, 2024. And it sought C variance relief for minimum lot area, minimum front yard setback, minimum side yard setback, and maximum impervious coverage. And it was to renovate the subject property that's located at 20 Essex Street, and it's designated as block 673, lot 10. The applicant is, as you would recall, is not looking to convert it to a two-family or three-family. It's going to remain a single family. And we heard testimony about that back on the 14th of February through applicant's counsel, Robert Taylor, presented the owner applicant, Darren Golston, as well as the applicant's architect, Harold Tullis. And after, again, the board listened to all that testimony provided back on the 14th of February of this year and saw all the evidence and exhibits submitted in support of that application, the board did find that the subject application for the requested that C variance relief I just noted for the existing one-family dwelling at the premises identified as 20 Essex Street can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good and without substantially impairing the intent and the purpose of the master plan and ordinances of the city of East Orange. Therefore, the application, along with that C variance relief I noted earlier, was approved subject to the following conditions. Again, the applicant agrees to the conditions set forth in the reports of the board professionals, including the city engineer, consulting planner, police department, health department, and those that were placed on the record during the East Orange Zoning Board of Adjustments meeting held on February the 14th, 2024, including addressing any outstanding issues to the board professional satisfaction. The applicants providing the board with revised drawings or the city as testified to during that hearing to the satisfaction of the board engineer, including but not limited to the demonstration of the proposed exterior lighting that they testified to and the placement of the shrubs that they testified to during that hearing. The applicant also agrees that the attic space, again, is not going to be used for this property for habitable purposes or expanded in any manner whatsoever. In addition, the proposed dormer and attendant gutters shall not impede on the existing side yard setback. The applicant agrees to comply with all city ordinances, including but not limited to those regarding security, and then the applicant's required to obtain all other state, county, and or municipal regulatory agency reviews and or approvals that are necessary. Again, if everyone's comfortable with the resolution that was provided, and it's in accordance with your recollection of last month's meeting, we could take a motion to approve the resolution.
Commissioners, you've heard the resolution read aloud. Is there a motion, the acceptance of ZB 2538-23? So moved by Commissioner Athill. Is there a second? A second by Commissioner Green. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Athill?
Yes.
Commissioner Green?
Yes.
Commissioner Harrison?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Hudson?
Yes.
Commissioner McClinton Watson?
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Thank you, commissioners. Next on the agenda is the calendar of old events. Old business. Seeing none. Calendar of new business. And at this junction, Madam Chair is present, and it's my pleasure to hand the gavel over to Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner McClinton Watson. Actually, we already started the meeting with you as chair, so if you don't mind, you can go ahead and use your expertise. You've been such a gracious leader so far. Please continue to lead our meeting for us.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. All right, commissioners, the calendar of new business. On our agenda tonight, we have case number ZB 2540-24, certified complete, February 28th, 24, expiration 4/15/24, applicant 112 North Walnut Associates, LLC, property 112 North Walnut Street, Block 360, Lot 15. Presenter Matthew P. Posada, Esquire, and the project description is in accordance with Chapter 51. The applicant seeks an appeal of denial of application pursuant to NJSA 40:55D-70.A and NJSA 4:55D-72A and Section 51-40 of the Land Use Ordinance.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Before we were to begin with council, I will note that Mr. Corey Klein is present in Mr. Posada's stead, so he will be presenting on behalf of the applicant. I do want to note now that we've been graced with Ms. Hudson's presence, Madam Chairwoman, we now have 8 members. So one of the alternates, and I don't know the order of the alternates, I may need assistance from Janice on this. They can listen and ask questions. Of course, all 8 can participate, but one of the alternates will not be able to vote because we have too many.
I will be happy to not vote.
Yeah, that's Nadia Moses.
And if you don't need me, I can drop from the call as well.
Mm-hmm. No, ma'am.
Yeah. We need you.
Lord, thank you. Tomorrow's my birthday, guys. I gotta go.
Oh, happy born day. All right.
So if the board, I know this doesn't happen very often with this board, at least from my recollection as serving as attorney for the past few years, but this is an appeal. This isn't like a typical variance or site plan type application. So all you're doing as a board here is exercising your power, which under the law, under those statutes that Madam Vice Chair read off under the description, empowers this board and requires this board to hear any appeals of an administrative officer's decision. Here we have the zoning officer deciding to deny permit, and the reason set forth in that denial was that they required site plan approval from the planning board. There's no variance relief being requested here, so it would have been just a straight site plan application, which would go to the planning board. That was the zoning officer's determination. The applicant believes that, and they'll present on this, but as a summary, the applicant believes that determination was made in error and that they're actually exempted from site plan approval before the planning board, and that the zoning permit should have just been granted and provided to the applicant without having to go before the planning board. The claim is that the subject application is just an interior renovation of the property. There's nothing that's going to be done allegedly to the exterior of the property. There's no change in the parking, no change in the use. It's an existing multifamily dwelling, and it's going to remain the same way. They're just making some interior renovations. So therefore, they believe that they are exempted from the site plan requirement to go before the planning board. And so your job as the members of the zoning board of adjustment is to listen to the applicant and then the testimony and determine if the administrative officer made an error. That's all you have to do. You're not granting any actual relief with the site plan or anything like that. You're just determining whether this decision that was made in error. If it was made in error, then you would just reverse the decision and require that the permit be granted for the interior renovations. Or you can affirm based on the evidence the decision, and that would still require the applicant to come before the planning board on a site. So to any members, does everyone understand? Just want to make sure we're all get what our job is. Okay. With that introduction, I'll turn it to Mr. Corey Klein, who represents the applicant, to provide the board with any information in support of his appeal.
Thank you, Mr. Diani. Corey Klein from the law firm of Sills, Cummis and Gross on behalf of the applicant 112 North Walnut Associates, LLC. And Mr. Diani, thank you for an excellent introduction as to what this case is about. So the subject property is 112 North Walnut Street, designated on the East Orange tax maps as Block 360, Lot 15. The property is located in the NWD, North Walnut Neighborhood District, within the East Orange Transit Village District Redevelopment Plan. Notice was sent to all interested parties on March 1st and published in the Star Ledger in accordance with the MLUL. And I would ask the board to confirm that notice was adequate and that the board has jurisdiction to hear my application.
I haven't reviewed the notice, but I'll just note that under the law, notice is not technically required for this appeal. It's only required under the municipal land use law if the municipality adopts its own ordinance requiring notice for appeals of an administrative officer's decision. And a review of the City of East Orange's ordinances indicate that they do not have an ordinance currently on the books requiring notice for such an application. Thank you, though, for being transparent and still providing notice. We'll still deem it adequate because it's not technically required under the law. And the zoning board does have jurisdiction, I'll note, as I did in my introduction, to hear this appeal.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Diani. The applicant is here tonight appealing pursuant to NJSA 40:55D-70A and 40:55D-72A and section 51-40 of the land use ordinance of the City of East Orange. The zoning board's determination in the denial of application dated December 27th, 2023, that the applicant needs to obtain site plan approval and planning board approval in connection with the applicant's application for permits for an interior renovation of the 25 multifamily residential development currently existing at the property. The denial of the application stated that the request was denied because site plan approval was required. However, section 8.2.4B of the redevelopment plan states that a project limited to rehabilitation is exempt from site plan review. To quote from the redevelopment plan, it says that additionally, any project limited to the rehabilitation of a building or site shall be exempt from site plan review, and the developer of any such project may apply directly for a zoning permit and construction permits. Here, the proposed work is limited to the rehabilitation of an existing building, which was granted a certificate of conformity for 25 units just a few weeks before the denial letter from the zoning officer. The cover letter for the certificate of conformity clearly states that the property is designated as 25 units and can be occupied in accordance with that designation. The proposed rehabilitation will not change the footprint or square footage of the building, nor will it change anything exterior to the building, such as parking or signage, and we submitted plans showing what the proposed rehab looks like. Therefore, the proposed rehabilitation is exempt from site plan approval and planning board approval, even though the property is located within a redevelopment area, and the applicant is permitted to apply directly for permits. I would like to call my first and only witness, Mr. Mirek Lewandowski of ML Architecture, the applicant's architect, who will explain the renovations to the building and confirm that the project that we're proposing is only a rehabilitation of an existing structure. So we can have Mr. Lewandowski sworn in his qualifications.
You raise your right hand, Mr. Lewandowski, and unmute yourself. You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You have to unmute yourself, sir.
Unmute, okay.
Yes, now you can hear me, right?
Yes.
I affirm.
Okay, thank you. For the record, can you just say your name, spell your last name, and then provide the board with your business address?
Miroslav Lewandowski, Lewandowski, OWSKI, address 47 Walnut Street, Sussex, New Jersey 07461.
Thank you, Mr. Lewandowski. Can you briefly describe your educational background and any licenses that you may hold for the board?
Yes, I graduated School of Architecture in 1997, received Master in Architecture. I practiced private office for almost 20 years. I am licensed in 5 states, including New Jersey, and I testified before about 25 different boards so far.
Thank you. I would ask that Mr. Lewandowski be qualified and as an expert in the field of architecture.
Commissioners, is there a motion to accept Mr. Lewandowski's educational background and consider him as an expert witness?
I move that Mr. Lewandowski be considered as an expert.
Thank you, Commissioner Kelly. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Green. Roll call. Roll call, please. Janice?
You can do it all in favor if you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, commissioners. Continue, Mr. Klein.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Lewandowski, can you please discuss the existing building?
Yes, would it be helpful if I share my screen with the plans or not necessarily?
Yes, please.
Okay, just a moment.
Or even better, if you have a photograph of the existing building somewhere in your package.
So I would like to ask if my screen is visible now.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
So this property is located at 112 North Walnut Street, Block 360, Lot 15. It's in North Walnut Redevelopment District. The property is currently vacant, I believe from 2016, and was used previously as 5-story, 25-unit multifamily building. Each unit is a 2-bedroom unit. First floor, which is currently displayed. Those are actually the plans that I'm showing right now here for alteration, renovation of this building. So I'm going to describe proposed work, which aligns with what's existing. So this is the first floor. On the right-hand side, we see the main entry and the foyer and the main corridor. We see some utility rooms, storage room at the bottom, proposed building office to the right. And there's 1 unit, 1 apartment with 2 bedrooms on this first floor. In the back of the floor, we see again some storage and laundry room. Floors 2 to 5, so second, third, fourth, and fifth floor, are basically the same, almost identical. And we see on each floor, we see 6 apartments, and 2 in the front, 2 in the middle, and 2 in the back. And all of them are 2-bedroom apartments. In the entire building, we see just 1 main staircase and 1 elevator. And each apartment has fire egress escapes stairs. So the applicant is proposing to, like it was said earlier, to rehabilitate the existing building. it's interior alteration, or we can call it rehabilitation of entire building. The number of units is not being changed. The number of apartments is not being changed. And just few words on what's going to happen in those apartments. What the renovation entails. We're proposing new kitchens, bathrooms. There's entirely new electric and lighting proposed. There will be a new sheetrock and gypsum wallboard throughout. We're proposing new fire rating separations between apartments and also between the common areas. And an entire building will receive new windows and doors. So entire renovation, actually, I will maybe show the way it looks on the outside. So this is the front elevation, side elevation, and rear elevation. The number, like I mentioned, the number of bedrooms per unit is not changing, and the number of apartments is not changing. The configuration of the whole building is not being changed. The exterior of the building is not being changed. Of course, number of floors doesn't change. We have no addition, no extension proposed. The height of the building is existing, is not being changed. So just to be clear, the whole proposed work is interior rehabilitation. I think at this point I will finish my description of the project.
Thank you, Mr. Lewandowski. I have no further questions for this witness. Are there any questions from either the board or the board's professionals for this witness?
Commissioners, are there any questions for this case or about this case?
Is any of the, I have a question.
Why was denied?
I have a question.
Commissioner Harrison?
Do they tell you the reason why it was denied?
A question,
It says
what was
needed
the reason
site
for
plan.
denial?
It needed site plan approval.
Site plan, oh, okay, so I'm sitting here, I'm reading what this is all about, under the section and trying to, see.
It was denied by the zoning officer because it said they needed site plan approval and the applicant is requesting a review or appeal because he's saying it's in the development zone. Redevelopment.
Okay, because I'm reading it, in the titles and the municipalities, and I was just still trying to follow, the reason for the application denial. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Harrison. I see, is there another hand, Commissioner? I see the principal planner, John Barry.
Yes, Madam Chair. Good evening, and good evening to everyone. This is my first meeting with everyone. I'm pleased to be here.
Oh, yes, and welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I do have a few questions to follow up. Mr. Lewandowski, could you tell us are you adding bedrooms to any of the units? Are you changing the number of bedrooms in any of the existing units?
No, the number of bedrooms remains the same as existing.
So would you mind showing the floor plan for the C line or F line in your buildings? It doesn't matter which floor.
Yes, let me share again. So you mentioned C line or F line?
Yeah, the two units in the middle of the building, either one, doesn't matter.
Yes.
So based on the graphic legend, it looks like new walls are being installed to create what's labeled as bedroom 2. Is that accurate?
Yes, bedroom 2.
Okay. So were those units previously, so that those are bedrooms being spaced out that don't exist today in the building?
Yeah, let me just see the existing floor plan. Yes, I see. This is a little mistake here, because we do show existing those two apartments in the middle. They are one bedroom apartments.
Correct. So are you familiar?
The proposed plans show 2-bedroom apartments in the middle.
Right. So I don't know if you're familiar with the minimum square footage requirements for 2-bedroom units or the minimum bedroom size requirements for bedrooms under the North Walnut District in the redevelopment plan. It's actually the whole redevelopment plan, section 5.1.3. The general provisions require a minimum of 750 square feet for 2-bedroom units, and require that each bedroom be a minimum of 110 square feet. It appears based on the plans you're presenting here that the middle units, those C-line and F-line units, don't meet those minimum requirements. Is that correct?
And it seems like, yes, correct.
Okay. So, not to set aside completely the initial question about why we're here, but it does appear that the plans as presented would require variance relief for the unit size for the 2-bedroom units, the C and F units, and relief for the bedroom size, the bedroom number 2 in both of those units.
Yeah, Mr. Barry, how are you? If I can,
all right, Corey, how you doing?
Good. If I may interject briefly, see, and maybe it's a question for my architect as to whether we know if the, the bedroom sizes or the unit sizes are pre-existing nonconformities or not. I guess to the extent that they are not legally pre-existing non-conforming conditions, then we would need to revise our plans. But that's a question for you, Mr. Lewandowski. Are those you've heard what Mr. Barry said about the minimum bedroom sizes and the minimum unit sizes? Do you know if those sized units or sized bedrooms were existing in the building, prior to the rehabilitation or not?
Well, for one thing, I can see apartment 3C. If I take like 36 by 17, that's about 600 square feet. So it would not conform to a requirement of 750. And like I said, we did include existing plans. Those are the existing plans. And those 2 apartments were one bedroom apartments. So if the owner is willing, we can amend those plans and show these 2 apartments in the middle as 1-bedroom apartments, and the rest will be 2-bedroom, according to the existing floor plans.
Well, we may not have a choice.
We can avoid.
Yeah, we may, if we're creating a variance condition, and we're not seeking relief from that, and it's not a legal pre-existing non-conforming condition, then we would need to either reduce the units to 1 bedroom or seek relief from that section.
Right, that's my view as well, and I would offer that the minimum square footage for a 1-bedroom unit under the redevelopment plan is 600 square feet. So I believe, based on the dimensions that Mr. Lewandowski provided on the plans, those units would be properly sized as 1-bedroom units, and presumably the bedrooms could be properly sized as well, but not as 2-bedroom units as shown.
Yeah, I believe that would be the decision of the owner, which direction we would like to go, either go for the site plan with those proposed 2-bedroom apartments, or we can revert back to what was existing there.
right? We may even, and I'd have to look at the code and the redevelopment plan to see if there are any other options for us, perhaps just seeking a variance without a full site plan approval, but yeah, chances are the path of least resistance would be, at least for purposes of this board's analysis, we would not be seeking at this time to request any further relief from the code to create undersized units. So in making the determination as to whether the zoning officer indeed erred and that site plan approval is not required, we would not be requesting for purposes of this hearing to make those units 2-bedroom units. They would need to be 1 bedroom, and so that they would conform.
The only other comment I would make, and it's not clear to me from the plans, and I'm not an expert in this, so I'm just raising it as a potential thing to look at it broadly, is with the new walls being added, new fire rated walls being added between the units, new internal demising walls being added within some of the units, whether a thorough structural analysis of the building was conducted. And if the city's had an opportunity to review that.
We did have an engineer who conducted an inspection of wood framing, and we do have a letter from him. He basically stated that beams and steel columns are structure adequate, snow cracks, sediments, foundations seem to be adequate. He just advised to reinforce certain floor joists. So the structure of the building seems to be adequate at this point.
I would just recommend that the city have that reviewed as well if that hasn't been done, but that wouldn't be reviewed by me.
So, Mr. Klein,
Yes.
where are we now?
Madam Chair, I have one question for either the applicant or his attorney.
Commissioner Hudson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Were these the plans that were reviewed by the zoning officers?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so just my opinion, I'm not sure that the board would even be able to grant relief on your appeal if your appeal is, asking us to review the zoning officer's opinion when the plans that were submitted have, additional bedrooms being added that would, one, create a situation where they would need to ask for relief, but then two, is outside of what's in the development plan. So, there's nothing to say that if you had submitted plans with 1 bedroom, the zoning officer would have denied it. So I don't know that, in my opinion, we could even, fairly say that this is a significant appeal request when, the plans that were submitted don't necessarily fit the request that you guys are asking for.
Well, let me ask another question for Mr. Lewandowski then. Were 25 2-bedroom units existing before?
Well, this is the situation we encountered. There were those are 2 apartments in the middle. They were 1 bedroom, so it would be
23. So the answer is no.
No, right, no.
And the
So it looks like it was 23 2-bedrooms and 2 1-bedrooms.
So there would be 17 2-bedrooms
17.
and 8 1-bedroom apartments.
8.
Yeah, because we have
Oh, the middle bedrooms, the middle
Oh, the
middle.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes, I think it's the middle apartments on each floor is what
On
they're
each
saying
floor.
were one bedroom. So that's where he's coming up with.
Times 4.
Right. That's
Two
what he's coming up
apartments times
with.
4 floors, that would be 8.
Right.
And the rest,
Okay.
17, would be the 2-bedroom
Right.
apartment. This is the conditions we encountered and consider them to be existing. So we can, like I said earlier, we can revert back to show this this proposed renovation aligned with existing conditions, and maybe the board can conditionally approve it today.
Well, it wouldn't be a conditional approval. I think that what the board members are saying is that the the zoning officer's decision could have been correct if he was seeking site plan approval, simply because we were proposing 25 2-bedroom units rather than 17 2-bedroom units and 8 1-bedroom units. Therefore, if we were to make an application for a zoning permit to rehabilitate the building in exactly the same way as we're proposing now, except we'd be seeking 17 2-bedroom units and 8 1-bedroom unit, then we would, expect that the zoning officer would approve that and allow us to move forward with seeking building permits. Otherwise, we'll end up right back here, appealing the zoning officer's decision to deny that and request site plan approval if the zoning officer were to
Get involved.
deny it at that point.
Deny it again.
Yeah. So
I think that the board needs to determine the appeal based on, like what Madam Chair said, with what's been presented to them. I don't recommend or advise the board to conditionally reverse the zoning officer. I want this to be clean on the record, so I would rather, based on what's already been presented, it's clearly triggering a variance which would require site plan.
Right.
So I would.
I'm just discovering this for the first time as well.
That's fine.
Sorry,
That's fine. We'll work through it.
I hear, excuse me, I hear other people talking while you're talking. Thank you. Continue, Mr. Klein and Mr. Deani.
Yeah, I would just note that I think the cleanest thing to do is the board votes on what's presented to them, which I would think would be to affirm the zoning officer's decision at this point. Allow your client to make its decision whether maybe it wants to keep 2-bedroom units and look for the variance relief. We don't know. But if they wanted to revise the plans back to the 8 1-bedrooms, 17 2-bedrooms, present that. I would also recommend that they provide the city and the city's engineer with the structural engineering reports as well, so they're comfortable with the structural integrity of the building as well. And I think that would be more of a complete presentation to the zoning officer for him to make a determination. And then you still have your appeal rights on a new permit. So.
Right. So, no, and thank you for that, Mr. Deani. I appreciate that. I think that, knowing what we know now, I would even suggest that perhaps rather than having the board vote, and I would expect that the board would vote based on the facts presented to deny our appeal of the zoning officer's decision, rather than moving forward with that. I would ask that this be, put on tabled until the next meeting, and in the meantime, we'll provide the structural engineering plans. I'd like to go back to my client to get some more clarity on, why we thought, there were 2 bedrooms versus 1-bedroom units, to make sure that we're solid on our facts. And then, if so, we would withdraw our appeal and, apply to the zoning officer for a zoning permit for something that, conforms with what we think, the 17 2-bedrooms and 8 1-bedroom.
Or you just want to adjourn this matter?
Yeah, I would ask to adjourn this matter, and I'll probably wind up withdrawing it once we get more clarity. And in the event that we're wrong on any of these facts, which, I'm discovering for the first time, we may want to continue with our appeal. But from what I'm hearing, it sounds like if those were in fact one-bedroom units, and that's all we're permitted to have at the building, then I at least like the opportunity to go back to my client, make sure that I'm clear on what made us believe that we were entitled to two-bedroom units. If I can't find any facts supporting that, then I would withdraw my appeal. If we do, then perhaps we would like to proceed.
Okay, I don't have an objection to that. That's not a bad way to move forward. I will, just for the record, would like you to tell the board on the record that the applicant agrees to, extend and or waive the time frame to decide the appeal based on the situation that's been presented before the board.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. So based upon what's being said, though, Madam Chair and Vice Chair, it looks like there's a request here to adjourn this appeal determination by the board. Would Mr. Klein, you think your client and all this you'll be ready to make a decision by next month's meeting?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, then I think we could entertain a motion to adjourn this application to the April meeting. No notice is obviously is required anyway, so there's no further notice needed, and that the applicant has waived that time frame, the mandatory time frame for the board to determine the appeal based upon the need for the adjournment.
All right, Commissioner, what's your pleasure to adjourn ZB 2540-24 over to April of next month, this 2024?
I make a motion to adjourn ZB 2540-24 until April.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Second?
I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Athill. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Motion carries. So we're adjourning ZB 2540-24 for next month's meeting, April of 2024. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night.
All right. Good night. All right, commissioners. Next on the agenda is report of officers. Are there any reports? Seeing none, hearing none. Other business? None. Communications and correspondence. And our next meeting is Wednesday, April 10th, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. via Zoom. Are there any questions, any problems, any solutions?
I just want to know, thank you, John Barry, for your review and bringing those issues before the board's attention, because they are obviously critical, and it turned the application on its head. So I actually appreciate that. Thank you for speaking up and asking those questions.
Yes,
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
Awesome. Commissioner Johnson, you have something?
No, I was just agreeing.
Oh, yeah. That was very insightful.
Yes.
Commissioners, are there any solutions, any comments, anything? If not, I'd like to get a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Athill. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.